G'day traders, we're going to wrap up of Tuesday the 5th of June. So we've got the daily chart up here. Here's the Tuesday that we're looking at here, so you can see basically towards the end of last week we had this breakout candle, so that was the one directional day, and then we're getting a bit of a backlash from that. So we're getting these sellers that have come in, and now we're just getting a bit of a bounce from the buyers. So sellers definitely in control, and we're going to find markets where both buyers and sellers do come in and have a go. But the thing led up to today that the pre-market was quite flat, and it had been pushing down for quite a bit. Friday obviously pushed down very heavily. Monday pushed down as well, so it was due for a little bit of a bounce, and that's what's happened on this Tuesday morning. So let me take you through just the general relationship between the buyers, sellers, and then we'll have a closer look at the three areas that we've been watching. So this here's this, this basically a reaction to the buyers pushing down. So all of a sudden we've got some the sellers pushing down. We've got some buyers coming in, even though it's a seller's market. It's they're having a bit of a bounce in this kind of situation, and we've come back down, and then basically they've come back through half that trend. And what we're doing is watching the other markets, just seeing how much of an effort they're making as far as pushing down. A lot of the other markets were in a tighter range, and a lot of them got a bit further down, so it looked like there's a bit of a downtrend was coming. But then we started to turn back around, and this is where we got a first 5-minute signal here. And by the time this 5-minute signal came, all the other markets were getting back on the upside. Must admit, there was still a little bit of downward pressure. So in the end, I think this is something that's caused the area to fail. But it certainly, it had a chance of working. It's definitely, even though it failed, it's one you take part of the system as a discretional trade. Maybe a bit of a 50-50 one, but one that the buyers could have easily pushed back up to the highs. What happens is it forms a bit of a support level here, and it's kind of hovering around. As soon as it broke that support level, that was kind of enough for it just to go and start heading on the downside here. And you can see that just temporarily just broken this low down here. So especially in the current market, breaking this sort of low, it's an area where they could potentially go on with it and push down and head back towards this low point. In the end, the markets have turned around, but what we had just in here was another 5-minute signal, even though the arrows don't show up as this predictive's crossing up. This is actually a 5-minute fade, so you can see the moving average clearly pointing down. So looking for the market to hold somewhere here, and then I guess push lower with this previous breaking of this area here, and an area where majority of the time the markets would have went down from there. In this particular case, they've kept with the buyers and have got to push back up from here. We're very sideways. We came back again, and then without any sort of power on the downside, they started turning around back to the upside, and then we've got this third 5-minute signal. So this one worked. The first two failed, but this one worked, and this is probably that. And the fade around here were two of the better looking signals, even though the fade didn't work. This one here certainly had signs of pushing higher and going back to those highs anyway, which is exactly what it did. And from there it got a little bit higher and just finished the day quite sideways. So as far as the 5-minute system goes, there was loser, loser, winner. So for the month, it's striking at 2 from 4 as far as 5-minute trades. Looking at the 1-minute charts, so we've got this push up here, and here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive power points on the same side. So looking for the market to come back, hold this, and push higher. So again, this was the power point came at the bottom of this sideways range area. You can see it did jump up and went about 6 ticks, and it looked like it was one that was certainly going to go the distance. Buyers were around, so even from a discretional point of view, pretty good area. But as far as the system trade goes, it's got to be taken. The good thing about this too is you can sit your stop loss down below this lowest point here and have a 3-tick risk or something like that, as opposed to a full stop out. And that's exactly what happened. It ended up turning around and not quite going the distance, and then a reduced stop there. So that was the only PowerPoint system trade for the day. So that one this month, after having such a fabulous month in May, I guess it's catching up with itself and just trying to even out those percentages a bit. And it's only 1 from 7, but definitely due for some winners. You can see we've marked these points here. So these are the swing low, swing high areas within the range that potentially looking for power fade areas. So this one here certainly had some potential. I've marked it here. We've come back, we've tested it, we've just pushed through. So this was this area that I talked about on the 5-minute charts where we look where it broke, Okay, so there's definitely some momentum by breaking there, and all the other markets were breaking that same point as well. So it's an area that I thought was very likely to start going from, looking for a pullback, and then the power fade on the downside. So what happened here? Just didn't get enough of a pullback. The power, by only having a shallow pullback like this, makes the power fade sit down a lot lower, and therefore it's kind of it's out of the area. You can see it's bounced, but if we had a power point up higher, it might have still got stopped out. But what we want is a little bit more compactness, and then when it breaks through, and it needs to get the points as it's breaking. But in general, this particular area didn't work. But if you look over markets, this is really good signs of selling, even though this is not the best example of it. Hopefully you can see what I mean by breaking that area, coming back, and then going at it again, and all the other markets going and breaking this area. There was a lot of momentum on the downside. It just turned around. So the fact it turned around quite quickly makes this area quite valuable on the upside. So it's popped up here, come back. When it goes at it again, all the other markets were pushing higher and breaking that area as well. So as far as the power fade trade, what we actually need is it to come test, have another little pullback, and then go again. So we just didn't get that confirmation, but certainly an area that in general had a high chance of pushing through and going on from there. As for this area pushing up here, like the continuation of this area here, so you can see we started to break up through here now. So again, that gives some more momentum to the upside. So we've come back and pushed higher, marked another swing low here. So if the market came back and looked at that area quite quickly, could potentially look at the downside. Again, it really depends what other markets are doing. When the market comes down, it's got a really good chance of holding that point there and going higher. But if you see all the other markets breaking that point, with any of these marked areas, that gives you a lot more confidence in taking the area, and as long as it sets up correctly, then you can go ahead and go with this new pressure area. So we didn't come back and test that area. We basically just grinded up here and had a very sideways finish to the day. So no power fades for the day. That's a wrap up for Tuesday, and I'll speak to you guys Wednesday.